And thank you, everyone, for joining us today as we introduce the Water Risk Monetizer. Ecolab, the global leader in water technologies and services, and Trucost, the global leader in valuing natural capital, partnered to develop the Water Risk Monetizer, industry's first financial modeling tool that enables businesses to factor water into decisions that support responsible water use and business growth. Joining us today to discuss the Water Risk Monetizer are Libby Bernick, Senior Vice President, North America for Trucost, and Emilio Tenuta, Vice President of Corporate Sustainability for Ecolab. Emilio, Libby, take it away.
Thanks, Roman. It's great to be with everyone online today to introduce this new tool called the Water Risk Monetizer. So the Water Risk Monetizer is an online tool that provides actionable information to help water users understand the water scarcity impact across their operations in financial terms. The tool is a first of its kind. It's available publicly online on waterriskmonetizer.com, and it's available at no cost. So the challenges around fresh water use around the world are well known. By 2030, there will be a 40% gap between water supply and demand. It's also, companies know this. In fact, 70% of the companies surveyed identified water as a substantial business risk. One of the major reasons is that water is undervalued in much of the world. There's an inverse relationship between water scarcity or water stress and the price that water users pay for it at a facility level. For example, Amsterdam, in a low water scarce area of the world, is priced at $3.42. Water is priced at $3.42 per cubic meter. Compare that to Mumbai, a high water stress area, where water prices are at 28 cents per cubic meter. So the challenge is that the current cost of water doesn't account for the value and the benefits that it delivers to its water users. So why is that a problem? A couple reasons. One, it challenges water users to substantiate investments based on the low cost position of water today in investments in water efficiency technologies or water efficiency strategies to reduce water use. Second, it challenges companies who need to make mid and long-term investments in capital by not being able to substantiate those investments that allow them to operate in regions where they identify growth opportunities. Libby?
Thanks, Emilio. The tool bridges this gap that Emilio was speaking to between low market price for water and water scarcity. And it helps businesses understand that water scarcity impact in financial terms. In this way, they could use water risk data right alongside their other standard business metrics and use that information to inform their decision-making so they can continue to grow. The premise for the tool is this. The more scarce water is, the higher the value of the water and the higher the risk for businesses that rely on it. Now, this tool works at a site level anywhere around the world. It takes facility data to get a current water bill and estimates that bill in 10 years' time based on economic growth. But where the tool really adds clarity and what makes it unique is that it applies a monetary value to water scarcity, taking into account those water scarcity risks within the local basin and also the value and benefits that water provides within a local community. What might that be? What are those risks? Well, For example, in a region where energy is provided by hydroelectric power, if there's not enough water, then that community could be hit with power outages or increased rate hikes for electricity. Another example might be a community that relies on groundwater for their drinking water supplies. And in water-scarce regions, this can lead to rationing. And we know that sometimes businesses aren't necessarily the first in line in those sorts of situations. The final step the tool takes is to provide a risk-adjusted water price. It takes the current water bill, adds onto it that water risk premium, and provides that risk-adjusted water price in monetary terms that businesses can use to better inform decisions and their future plans for growth. Now, this video will give you a demonstration of just how easy it is to use the tool.
The Water Risk Monetizer is a financial modeling tool that provides a new way for businesses to incorporate water risks into business decisions. The publicly available first-of-its-kind tool was developed by Ecolab and Trucost to help businesses understand the full value of water to their operations. By quantifying water-related risks in financial terms, the tool bridges the gap between today's low market price for water and the water risks that affect businesses around the world. Using the tool is simple and secure. Here is a demonstration of how it works. Visit www.waterriskmonetizer.com. Start by creating a user profile and agree to the terms and conditions for protected use. Once you've created a profile, you can simply log into your account and begin entering data or access information previously entered. All information entered into the tool will remain confidential. The information is not available to anyone other than the individual who enters it. The demonstration uses data for a multinational beverage company with multiple locations, but the process for using this tool is the same for any industry. Complete the facility input form using existing business information about current water use, water costs, and production projections. The tool also asks for information about local regulatory environment and reputational considerations. To inform a more localized regulatory and reputational risk assessment, please fill out these to the best of your knowledge. When finished entering facility information, click on Results. The tool provides risk-adjusted water prices specific to the facility locations entered. It starts by forecasting current and future water bills based on the historical relationship between country-level GDP and water price. It then adds a water risk premium, which is calculated using a scientific model developed by Trucost to monetize water scarcity risk. The tool correlates local water scarcity to considerations that contribute to the full value of incoming water based on scarcity, including the facility's water use, local water scarcity, economic variance and purchasing power, population and GDP forecast. It uses algorithms derived from scientific studies on water scarcity and in-stream water values, such as local groundwater recharge, waste assimilation, wildlife habitat, and recreational activities, to correlate a facility's water use to these local water scarcity conditions to calculate the water risk premium. The water risk premium, when added to the water bill, quantifies the value a business should place on water based on real and future risk to the facility related to water scarcity. These results can be viewed as a table or chart or downloaded as an Excel file or PDF report. Placing a monetary value on risks helps businesses set priorities. This new way of assessing water-related risks in financial terms enables businesses to factor water scarcity into key decisions that support operational improvements and plant locations and expansion decisions to enable growth.
You saw this image in the video, but I'll highlight a few important points. The foundation for the Water Risk Monetizer is the current annual water bill based on information that a facility enters. The Water Risk Monetizer then builds on this foundation and applies a water risk premium. That water risk premium is based on the amount of water used by the facility, the local water scarcity within that community, and also the value and benefits that water provides in that local watershed. The Water Risk Monetizer then projects 10 years out that annual water bill and the risk-adjusted total water bill. This water risk premium, this additional water risk premium, is critical because it values the risk to a business if they can't get the water they need. What's also important to remember is that this tool builds on existing databases and scientific frameworks and extends them to apply a monetary value to risk. Emilio?
Thank you, Libby. So the Water Risk Monetizer can and should be used by all water users to understand the value and benefits based on to their operations based on water scarcity. The goal is to inform and take action at a facility level and a corporate level. For example, for facilities, say a facility in the Central Valley of California, where they're currently experiencing water scarcity and drought conditions, a food processor would use the risk-adjusted price that Libby spoke of to really substantiate water efficiency projects by using that water risk-adjusted price versus a current water in price, as we know, where we're challenged with that price being relatively low compared to the real value that that water is delivering to that site. At a corporate level, we realize that there's a number of factors or indicators that go into a risk assessment on whether to invest mid and large capital, whether it be to build a new plant in an emerging region where they see growth projections versus expanding a line in an existing facility. Those investments require more than just a quantification risk, but require the ability for users at a corporate level to understand how they can use a risk-adjusted price to substantiate capital investments to expand in these growth regions. So the Water Risk Monetizer, the goal of the tool is to help businesses, both businesses and community. For businesses, it provides information to take action around water efficiency strategies and capital investments that enable them to reach their business goals. It also provides businesses a line of sight to work with communities outside their fences to build collective action and engage stewardship practices really to support and enriching and enhancing the community and the water that impacts that community. So the Water Risk Monetizer really is designed as an actionable tool that enables us as a society to have water availability for future generations, to really shore up that gap that I spoke of earlier, to reduce that 40% gap in supply and demand that threatens the world.
And from Trucost's perspective, we've used this type of scientific model for a number of businesses around the world with great success. And we see the Water Risk Monetizer as something that can really transform the way that businesses think about water scarcity and spur faster action so that we collectively work towards water stewardship.
Great. Thank you, Libby. Thank you, Emilio. We do have a couple of questions that have come in, and for those of you on the webcast that would like to submit a question, please use the Q&A function. The tab for Q&A is on the upper right-hand side of the screen, and the Q&A box will appear on the right. The first question, Libby, Emilio, does this tool forecast what my water bill will be in the future?
So the Water Risk Monetizer really has two critical components. One is it allows us to take the current water bill, self-defined by the user, and really project it out based on economic indicators that are specific to the location of that facility to really understand how that will change over 3, 5, and 10 years. More importantly, it also provides a risk premium based on scarcity that also is forecasted based on a number of factors, including economic development and population growth.
Great. And taking a look at the Water Risk Monetizer and the algorithms behind it, how does it determine the true value of water?
The tool takes existing economic valuation approaches that have been used in academia for decades and applies them in a corporate setting. So we're using basic standard techniques and applying them to estimate the full value of water. We take into account things like water scarcity and also value that water provides in a local community, whether it's to recharge groundwater or provide recreational services or just to provide the basic needs for water in a community. And what's important to remember is that we're using standard practices around water valuation. For example, the total economic valuation method that's recommended by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development's Business Water Valuation Guidelines.
Great. Is the applicability mainly for manufacturing facilities, or would this tool be relevant for buildings and building portfolios as well?
So great question. The tool is really, it's been developed for all water users, whether it be manufacturing, whether it be food processors, whether it be a hotel, a healthcare facility. It's really applicable to all facilities and provides a risk-adjusted price that supports how they manage that water from that resource in any location in the world.
Another question. How do businesses currently determine the value of water? Are there other tools out there that provide similar information?
Well, I'll start. There are a number of tools out there today that enable users to really identify risk. One that's very prominent, for instance, is the World Resource Institute has a aqueduct tool that does satellite imaging mapping of water stress and scarce areas in the world based on critical watersheds. That tool does a nice job of providing, especially large national and multinational companies, a risk profile across an enterprise, for instance. Where this differs is that we're taking it to the next level. We're actually allowing the user to not only know what the risk based on scarcity is, but also a monetized value that can be applied to really support actions that can be taken.
Great. Then you place value on water. Is that based on country-specific information, region-specific information, or do you dive down into greater detail?
Okay. I'll take the first step at that. When we apply a valuation to water scarcity, we are looking at a local basin level. That's another one of the things about the tool that is unique. We're taking information available there at a local basin on water scarcity and applying a monetary valuation to the full value of water. We also take into account, though, information about a country and its purchasing power. So there are some additional insights that the tool provides about country-level valuation as well.
Great. Trucost and Ecolab coming together. Can you talk a little bit about the partnership, the roles that each organization played to bring the tool to life?
So sure, I'll start. There was a common vision that both organizations had well over a year ago, and that is this concept of driving water stewardship, but more importantly, making the business case for water stewardship and having that vision of how do we not only understand the risks associated with a water user based on a given watershed, but how do we go beyond that and make that business case to support the actions that need to be taken, whether it be investing in water management strategies or looking at reuse, recycle opportunities, or looking at broader ecosystem services impacts. So we work together utilizing each of our core competencies to really create this tool that would allow us to be new and new to the world with a concept that we quite honestly didn't see out there today. Libby?
Well, from Trucost's perspective, our aim is really to direct the flow of capital towards more sustainable business models. And over the past 14 years, one of the things that we've done is develop this model for valuing water scarcity in monetary terms. So it seemed like an extraordinary fit to take this technical expertise that Trucost has and couple it with what Ecolab knows about how to promote innovation and business growth around the world by engendering water stewardship.
Great. How can or should businesses utilize the data provided through the Water Risk Monetizer?
You want to start?
Go ahead.
So a couple of different options, really. The first is that by virtue of understanding the facility's impact on water scarcity by looking at the risk premium or the risk-adjusted price, one of the ways that a water user or a business can leverage that information is really to understand how they can drive reductions in water use at a facility level by utilizing that risk-adjusted price in lieu of the current market price. And so that allows us to really identify the real value of water to that facility and substantiate investments to drive water reduction programs within a facility or across a company.
Well, in addition to using that risk-adjusted price in their business plans, we also see this as a first step in a broader risk assessment. So understanding what is the risk now, and in 10 years, will my business have the water it needs to continue to operate or even grow, and then to factor that risk-adjusted price right into its operating budget and its plans for water efficiency solutions.
Can I just add one more thing, and that is a number of large companies have identified water as a substantial risk, as you've seen in the slides we presented earlier. So they've created corporate water strategies, and in those corporate water strategies, water scarcity and water risk is one of those risks that they take action on. And so as they look to expand, to Libby's point about capital investment, they've identified growth regions in the world. And in many cases, they're building new facilities there, or they're expanding existing facilities. And so in most cases, they're looking for, how do I leverage the risk premium that the tool develops to really discount my weighted average cost of capital that supports my assessment of what's going on with the water issues in that area.
Emilio, I would add the other way that we've worked with businesses to use this kind of monetary valuation is with their own operations and also with their suppliers. So it provides valuable insight for businesses who have water risks from within their supply chain.
Taking more of a water stewardship approach.
Absolutely.
What information will a business need to enter into the tool to begin the calculations? And is this information kept confidential? Who has access to this information once it's entered into the tool?
So I'll start, and Libby, you can pick up. The tool has been developed really with the notion that it's the user providing input that's very straightforward. It's location, it's water use in terms of volume, in this case cubic meters, and also the price they currently pay in U.S. dollars per cubic meter. That information is really the extent of what we're asking for to really generate this risk-adjusted price. So as they add one facility information for one facility or multiple, that information can be deleted if they choose once they log off, so that the information doesn't remain on the tool and the website. So I wanted to make sure that people understood that there's very strict data security policies in place, and that we are very sensitive to keeping the information confidential.
That's right. The information that a facility enters into the tool couldn't be seen by anybody else or any other user of the tool. And Trucost has worked with financial data and financial institutions for years, so we are very sensitive to and cautious about making sure that data security is paramount.
And one more question here. Will this tool and the data that it provides hurt economic development in water-stressed areas?
Well, I see it very much the opposite. I see it as an opportunity really to sustain operations within a defined watershed or across a enterprise in multiple watersheds by really being proactive versus reactive when it comes to scarcity challenges, by identifying where you are now and then allowing the tool to really forecast where we see the risk premium going based on your growth projections for your not only existing facilities, but where you see new facilities. And so I really don't see it as counter to supporting the economic development of an area. I see it more as being proactive and supporting how you can sustain that operations in that watershed.
That's right. And for example, we've already seen that in the state of California, there's been billions of dollars lost to that economy because of water scarcity and drought.
Right.
And this kind of tool can help prevent that by enabling businesses to make better decisions now and act now to prevent those kind of economic losses in the future.
Part of the planning process.
That's right.
Great, and we'll take one last question, which is along the lines of the previous discussion. In looking at the tool and the benefits that it would provide to an organization, how do these benefits also expand beyond the organization into perhaps the community or the watershed?
Well, it really is at the heart of our partnership, which is that we both identified as companies that not only do we have tools that support the conservation strategies that water users are looking for to reduce water use, but really to start to build more collective action by identifying the value that water has to a community and to a watershed and the ecosystem around it. And so we see this as really allowing, for example, businesses a line of sight to begin to collaborate more outside the fences of their operations to really engage with stakeholders that are looking to enhance the sustainability of the watershed for future generations.
That's right. And when we've used this kind of information, we've found that having a monetary value and understanding what that means in business terms really spurs action and allows that business to go out and work within its community to share that resource and make sure that it's available as a basic human right.
Great. Well, Libby, Emilio, thank you very much. For those who joined us today, thank you as well. We appreciate the questions. We invite you to visit the website at www.waterriskmonetizer.com. And for any questions that you may have, any additional information that you may need about the tool, please do not hesitate to contact us. On the next slide, there will be contact information, and feel free to reach out as needed. We're more than happy to discuss this tool and the great benefits it can not only provide companies throughout the world, but communities as well. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Have a great day.